J.J. Francais, the mayor of Elgin, Oklahoma, threatens the friends and family of a Lawton resident and also wishes sexual assault upon him.
Jesus Christ.
When you challenge the systematic rot inside a powerful regional hospital, you don't just face human resource paperwork, you trigger a coordinated weaponization of local government and regional media. But the mechanism of this retaliation relies on a connection that is far beyond a coincidence. Sitting directly on the hospital's governing board is media and telecom tycoon Dustin Hillary. And who was one of the Hillary's private sector employees? J.J. Francais, the mayor of Elgin, Oklahoma. What follows is a documented timeline of absolute collusion, from fabricated hospital allegations to an aggressive, synchronized media blitz spearheaded by a mayor acting as an enforcement arm for his corporate employer. They assumed the truth would be buried under a barrage of headlines. They were wrong. The digital receipts are absolute, the conflicts of interest are undeniable, and the curtain is about to be pulled back.
It's my style to be, full throttle. So anybody that knows me knows I'm going to raise my voice. Again, I'm not the most diplomatic or nicest elected leader out there. I wasn't elected to, lead the school class. I was elected to, fight for my community. So,
Tom, is there not a line drawn about how we work with people that we, are with, that we should be courteous?
Yes.
Every systematic cover-up begins when transparency is treated as a threat. In September of 2024, I attempted to directly address the board of directors at Comanche County Memorial Hospital regarding structural issues within their facility. Instead of receiving professional oversight, my presence was met with open indifference. Openly laughed at by a member of the board, and recognized that their primary objective was assessing what internal information I possessed rather than addressing the institutional rot. I chose silence that day, using their arrogance as a barometer for what was to come. The administrative incompetence extended deep into their clinical operations. During subsequent visits to the hospital's neurology clinic for severe chronic migraines, the basic of standard of care dissolved. Over multiple telehealth appointments where I sat before a monitor without ever being informed that the physician would not be present, the clinic failed to facilitate the delivery of 4 separate prescribed medications. Instead, during 3 separate visits, they handed me 3 face sheets belonging to entirely different individuals. One every single visit. A severe breach of federal health information privacy occurred. When I began documenting these violations and filing formal reports with federal regulatory agencies, the administration's defensive machinery turned hostile. They manufactured a highly suspect, delayed accusation claiming that 6 months prior I had physically pinched a nurse. They compiled an array of internal paperwork to fabricate a legal justification for an inappropriate criminal trespass warning. But they miscalculated. Knowing the historical tyranny of Comanche County Memorial Hospital administration, I had recorded every single interaction with their staff. The digital evidence does not match their narrative, and that is exactly why they launched an absolute war to silence me. On April 21st, 2026, I made another attempt to address the hospital board and was systematically, yet again, shut down. 5 days later, on April 27th, or 6 days later, I laid down a formal governmental tort claim with intent to sue. The response was immediate. On the exact day the legal notice was filed, which was April 27th, a digital article detailing a petty misdemeanor charge was uploaded to the local press, the Lawton Constitution. It did not run in the print edition, serving instead as a digital shot across all of southwest Oklahoma. A quiet warning of the media weaponization that if I continued, and a preview of what awaited me. By April 29th, just 2 days later, the single paragraph digital story vanished entirely from the newspaper's website. Something had spooked them. The sudden retreat strongly suggests that the publication's leadership realized the legal liability of running a targeted piece immediately following a formal intent to sue. The story was quietly placed on a back burner, held in reserve as ammunition for a later date. On May 19, 2026, the next board meeting, the battle intensified. Operating through a proxy, I delivered a massive administrative grievance package directly to the Comanche County Memorial Hospital Board, total of 60 detailed separate grievances spanning 174 pages of evidence. Rather than reviewing the systematic corruption laid before them, the board chose calculated ignorance to minimize their future legal liability. They refused to listen to the presentation and instructed my proxy to return the following month with the presentation on a thumb drive so they could view it on their TV in the boardroom. Anything to continue slow playing and or refusing to deal with the issues at hand. Exactly 1 month later, I intentionally chose not to attend the follow-up meeting. The coordinated press strike was unleashed. A full 5 to 6 paragraph expose targeting my misdemeanor charge was published. I immediately responded by executing formal legal services to the Lawton Constitution, delivering a cease and desist, a notice of preservation of assets, a preservation of evidence letter, and an intent to sue the newspaper's owner, Dustin Hillary, reporter Scott Rains, and the mayor of Elgin, J.J. Francais. At approximately 5:10 p.m. on June 22nd, the veneer of journalistic detachment cracked. Mayor J.J. Francais launched into an aggressive tirade of personal insults, called names, and threw at me a smorgasbord of threats and allegations. Operating under the illusion that he stands above the law, Francais openly stated that he did not recognize the legal notices threatening that anyone attempting to serve process on his property would be unlawfully arrested and charged. Furthermore, he committed a fatal error. He volunteered a defense without ever being asked, claiming he discovered the old misdemeanor warrant by police blotters and independent research on healthcare worker violence. But there's a glaring flaw in his lie. Those fabricated, unfiled hospital records exist only in one place on earth: the administrative offices of Comanche County Memorial. Following his explicit threat to run daily stories until I was detained, the fully orchestrated media blitz commenced. The very next day, a synchronized broadcast echoed across every major regional outlet: Channel 7 KSWO, the Lawton Constitution, the Lawton Police Department, and Texoma's homepage was deliberately framed not as a minor stale misdemeanor, but as a breaking news regarding a dangerous threat to society. The premeditation was laid bare when staff writer Robert Taylor Kennedy published a screenshot of a personal Facebook page that I had deactivated the previous day immediately following Francais' threats. They had been scraping my data, holding their assets, and waiting for the signal to execute a character assassination. What Elgin's mayor and the elite network of Lawtonians failed to grasp through their immense arrogance is the strict limit of the law. Journalistic immunity and the First Amendment protections are not absolute shields for malice. The moment public figures and media entities engage in deliberate collusion, intentional retaliation, and factual distortion designed to bypass legal due process, their constitutional immunity evaporates. This entire media campaign was never about public interest. It was a desperate defensive maneuver orchestrated by a hospital CEO, the son of a former municipal judge, whose board shares an employer with the very mayor spearheading the media assault. They drew up the digital rules, embedded their own systematic cheat codes, and assumed an amateur researcher would buckle under the weight of an elite multi-million-dollar network. But the audio and digital evidence do not lie. The timeline is absolute, the collusion is documented, and the truth will outlive the corruption.
Tara, the Elgin City Council voted unanimously tonight to censure the mayor, but the mayor tells me he has no plans to change his approach.
I don't object to the censure. I welcome a vote on the matter and hope that we can work together for the betterment of our great community.
According to the resolution made by Ward 4 Councilman Travis Bennett, the mayor raised his voice and threatened litigation against the city without articulating a legal basis. A censure does not mean Francais will no longer be mayor. It means the council disagrees with his actions strongly as the mayor. The mayor says the city is ran by the entire council, and he says the censure will not change his leadership style.
I don't think this fundamentally changed how I want to lead. I said yesterday on KSWO I wasn't elected class president.